Good morning. It's raining outside, which is nice. I've got coffee. Yum, yum. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. Oh my goodness, my coffee is so good. It took me, after I got my coffee machine, which I must make a video about because it is one of my most beloved things, and it is a dream come true, a long, long, long life dream come true. But I spent like 18 months or more trying to find a coffee that was consistent, that I really liked, that I could brew consistently, and the beans were consistent, and it was fairly traded, and blah blah blah. There's a lot of coffee roasters in New Zealand, but my favourite one is actually not roasted here. It's from Colombia, and it is amazing. So in this video, I am going to talk about a wonderful, amazing person in the world of tarot, and that is Rebecca Schoenecker. Rebecca, I think their first deck was Laughing Eye, Weeping Eye tarot, and then the Unicorns of the Universe, these are some of my all-time favourite decks. The unicorns are in here. I love that. It's got astrology symbols on it. The artwork is gorgeous. It's just beautiful. I absolutely adore it. It is kind of simple, but beautiful, and so much, and fun, and just wonderful. I love these decks. I don't think the Unicorns one had a booklet with it, but the other deck that I really want to talk about today is the one that I'm using this week and I used last week, and this is the Shadowspeak Oracle. And this is a deck created by Rebecca specifically for shadow work. I got it, I'll just move these out of the way for now. I got it before it came out, or the Kickstarter started before COVID, long before COVID, and there was huge delays. It was a horrible time for creators and people who were sending stuff internationally, and even after the bulk of COVID, there was an embargo on international mail into New Zealand. So I think after the deck, Rebecca sent it, it got returned to her. I think after the deck was released, it was probably 2 years or more after it was initially shipped that I actually got mine. We agreed that Rebecca would wait until the timing was right, but Rebecca is the most amazing person. I've been buying their decks since they started, and this one came with the bag, this great big gigantic bag. Now this is big. This is a big bag that I've got. This is a Hobonichi cousin. This is an Avec actually, but you can see that, and that's what it looks like next to the bag and the big cover. So it's a bulky bag. It would even hold my gigantic fat cousin from like a couple of years ago. So you put a tarot journal in there, a deck, cloth, you name it. And it also came with a lovely note. Let's see, it was date. Letter to the Spirit of Life and to you. Thank you, Bobby. So it talks about being alive is hard, life is a beautiful journey, but it is also paved with jagged rocks, broken bottles, and sometimes nails. Eeks, tires, eeks, feet. Sometimes it's not paved at all. We may experience rocky, troubling moments, and we must put on our superhero capes and freaking rock the hell out of those rocks. We are bigger rocks. Let's show 'em who's boss. Your story is rich and beautiful, and I'm sure not without its darker moments or tragedy. Some carry a heavy burden, and others, through no fault of their own. Life can be insanely unfair. Maybe you bought this deck and I don't know you, maybe I do, but I want to say, hold on, we are all running through this crazy plane, catapulted through the cosmos by an unknown source, or maybe nothing. We can't know for sure what's beyond the veil. All we know is that we are here, and we've got to run like the hell into the void with our light. And it goes on. Oh, it's just beautiful. Hold on to your space, make your universe sacred, and do your best to avoid the comets heading your way. Easier said than done, I know. Being a human is a wild adventure, and I'm obsessed with the perplexing task of that journey. Life could not be any stranger. I agree. I just love Rebecca. But I lucked out in these wilds. I ventured here and I found you, other humans trying to make sense of things, and I've gotten to hear and see incredible tales of courage, of loss, of beauty, all wound together in the most stunning web, I want to cry, of strings a spider's ever seen. This is my purpose, doing readings and being witness to your journey, creating tools like decks and books, holding space for people, listening, providing resources that explore the existential and practical questions of life. It is this work that keeps me alive. You have no idea how much it means to me that you came here with me, that you trusted me to go into the wilds, to hold Shadow's hands. Thank you for being strong enough to speak Shadow. I hope Shadowspeak is a strong companion in your journey. And also thank you for keeping me alive. I don't know who I am without this work. Blessings and peace, Rebecca, aka Laughing Eye, Weeping Eye. Thank you, Bobby, because you are so freaking sweet and supportive. Thanks for believing in me. I have a handmade card stand and some extra stickers for you. Oh. So, Rebecca, I wasn't sure about if the stand was part of the deal, but so Rebecca sent me this stand, which I do think they sell on their website. I know you can still get the tarot, the pouch, and the cloth, the oracle. And they've got a new deck, which I really want to get, and I don't know. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Because of the shipping and thing, and shipping is so high now, it's really, really difficult to get things sent here. But it came with this lovely, I think this was part of the Kickstarter, the spider pouch. The cloth was included in the Kickstarter, and I'm not sure which some of these stickers were and some weren't. And some were ones Rebecca sent me. Also, this is a card from the new deck, which wasn't released at the time, but is now. And this is the one that I want to order. I really want to get this deck next. Look at the backs, it's beautiful. So, the Colourful Tears Tarot, that must be what it's called. And I do hope it's still there, because I'm sad. I have one of the cards was a little bit chipped at the back, which can happen quite easily when they're packed and things, and Rebecca sent me a replacement, which was totally free, with another sticker, and has done that for I ruined a card in my Unicorns of the Universe. I did it myself. I said to Rebecca, please, can I buy another one? But they just sent me one free, so this is good. That's good tarot doing business. Good person, good human being, and it's good to pay postage, and I don't mind doing that, but when someone does that, it's special. You know that they're in there for the bigger picture. So what are we going to do? So this is the cloth you get. I'm going to put the cloth out because it looks good and the cards are black and white. So that's the one I drew yesterday, which is boundaries, and I do need them quite strongly. I do definitely need boundaries. I wanted to use this deck for a second week because it's been so amazing. And I want to get to know it better. Now, I mentioned it briefly in a video I made yesterday or the day before, a wrap-up. And I was talking about the back, and I forgot that the back of the card, the design on the backs of the cards. So let's go here. So it's a 60-card Oracle deck. And that's the box. Shadowspeak is a 60-card Oracle deck that helps you access your inner darkness for inspiration, expression, and greater self-awareness. In shadowed places lay the greatest treasures if we search for them. And there's that gorgeous artwork again in the box. And that's the lid. Access the Power of Your Inner Darkness by Rebecca Schoenecker. And it's a big book. It's a beautiful, amazing book, so full. This deck and book will help you see shadow as integral to personal awakening. The destructive leaden energies we carry give way to deeper understanding and luminescence. Darkness and shadow are holy sacred places to travel to and explore. They're integral to the human experience and to a more complete picture of transcendence. Now, I love Jung. I studied Jung for years. I love Jung's work and his concept of individualization and integrating the personality, the various aspects of the personality. So this deck really speaks to me big time. So these are the backs. I'll talk about them in a minute. I'll just show you the size of the cards. So these are quite big, but manageable. So this is a Hobonichi A6 Techo. So that's what the cards look like. On top, I'll just get one card, might make life easier. One card on top of the A6 deco. I don't know the exact dimensions, it's probably written somewhere, but I don't know. Now the backs of the cards, we have to look at the backs. So basically they go through all these things, there's 60 cards and they're arranged in the book in alphabetical order. But if you look at the backs of the cards, they have an eye symbol. These are all the right way up. But this eye symbol differs on the backs of the different cards. Not all different, but I'm not sure if there's 3 or 4 different ones. And I wanted to show you this specifically because I love it. I love how it's done. I think it's really, really clever and absolutely brilliant. There's another one. Let's see, are there any? Oh, and there's the other one. No, that's that one. So there might only be 3. I'll just check the guidebook because so the inspiration for Shadow, it's just beautiful, the inspiration for Shadowspeak. One of my earliest, most impressive works of art was a life-size tomb made of cornstalks. I was in high school and I had been having these recurring dreams of death, wandering and loss while amid a field of cornstalks. The cornstalks held a dark, transcendent power for me. In my dreams, the sky was always midnight blue and I could only find my way through moonlight. That reminds me of the Oscar Wilde quote about dreamers. What is it? Dreamers can only find their way by moonlight. Their punishment is to see the dawn before the rest of the world. I just think that is the most amazing quote on the planet. And then she talks about Man and the Symbols by Carl Jung. So obviously this book is influenced by Jung. And her art teacher. And all of this whole journey, which is just fantastic. You know, it's beautiful. I'm not going to read it all, but I want you to know that this book is 1,000,000 times bigger than any other tarot book I've probably ever read about. It's got so much in it. And then it talks about shadowing the cards and working with the shadow. And it says things like, cards like abandonment and descent bring you to understand, to bring you to the underworld. The soul enters an abyss. In this remote chasm you are forced to see inside, to heal the source of grief, to see your width and span. We carry these potent shadow places within us. They are worth seeing. And it goes on, cards like search and mystery encourage one to embark on an odyssey to travel to new lands. In your journey you'll find new skills and forge new paths, new modes of expression will emerge. In passage your personhood will expand. You will find beautiful, new and weird things about yourself. And then it talks about courage and things like the contentment and clarity, show that shadow has been heard. The moth, illuminating ourself. It talks about being vulnerable, and again more Jungian stuff. Meeting the cards. So every card has got symbolic and literal interpretations, which is pretty awesome too. So it says, how do I know? So sometimes when you have ambiguity like this, it's kind of, you want to know. So having clarity around your question can help you determine if a card is symbolic or literal. Questions surrounding personal growth means a card will likely offer symbolic information and advice for self-understanding. Questions surrounding events, outcomes or situations suggest a card drawn will have a more literal meaning. And of course there's always a potential for crossover. Who said divination was easy? I don't actually see it as divination at all, but guidance. And that applies to all tarot and oracle. An emotion and event may coincide in a card. As you study the cards, always take note of your first reactions, which is very important with any reading. The first reaction, the intuition, that first thing you feel, that is the thing you've got to listen to, because that is the guide. That's your guide. And the more you do it, the more you develop that. But like any symbol in life. But it says to make the deck your own. All readings done on prediction, time and events are subject to change because the future is not cast in stone. The point in reading the future is to give you an opportunity to change it if you want to. I kind of see it differently, but So here we are. So these are the realms, the Shadowspeak realms. So we've got the 3 different eyes. So we've got, so these 3 phases are realms of Shadowspeak. Every card in this deck belongs to one of these realms, and each realm bears a unique topography, and a visitor to these realms can expect to receive specialised teachings from each place. These teachings are used alongside individual card meanings. There are a number of practical ways you'll be able to use the realms in Shadowspeak readings, but before I get there I will say this. The Shadowspeak realms are a way to understand life. Sure, they can be and will be used for divination, but they are most powerful when understood as a breathing, living cycle of energy that Shadow offers you. Our lives are not static things, we are constantly in flux. We don't always know what's happening in the moment, but if we can give it a context, it can be easier to see how our experience fits into the bigger picture. And then introducing the realm. So shadow work is, so let's check this card, what was it? Descent. Yep, so that's definitely the work icon, that one. And those are abandonment, anger, betrayal, boundaries, confrontation, dissent, destruction, distrust, divide, erasure, fear, fury, grief, illusion, jealousy, loathing, modesty, release, remorse, repetition. And shadow rest, we've got acceptance, annoyance, assent, boredom, constancy, courage, devotion, growth, mystery, obscurity, patience, pressure, protection, reconfiguration, reflection, restoration, searching, secrecy, serenity, and survival. And shadow sight, we have abundance, cherishing, clarity, contentment, determination, flow, hope, joy, mastery, materialization, peace, pleasure, power, pride, rebel, sensitivity, surprise, trust, wealth, and wisdom. And cards within the shadow work realm represent death and rebirth. These cards are the beginning of a journey. What is uncomfortable or painful to acknowledge breaks through. Cards within the shadow rest realm represent the liminal in-between state of growth, and these cards are the middle of a journey. Shadow takes time to rest. New information sinks in. Search and inspiration rises up, and new plans are tentatively formed. This is something that's really pertinent to me at the moment, and I think it's pretty good call. I got boundaries, and the day before I got boredom, because the boredom card, I want to talk about that. I have been going through burnout, and that's because of a lack of boundaries. Not just with others, but with myself. And in shadow sight, cards within the shadow sight realm represent fullness as shadow is integrated into life. These cards represent the end of a journey. One's plans or persona are externalized. Shadow integrates this newfound wisdom into life. And then it talks again about the framework, but you can take it your way. I mean, we're all at different stages in life. The card realms, there we go. Work, rest, and sight. So you can see the icons. If you wanted to use this deck just for a reading for that part, you go definitely going through one of those realms, and you could just pick out the cards that apply to that realm. All the rain on the roof. And if one more than one realm is prevalent, you know, if one realm is prevalent over others, if you do a full reading, then you can obviously see where you are. And then it goes on about the realm, and each one is dealt with separately, the cards, and then we've got spreads there. This book is incredible. I mean, look at it. It's got a bit for all the stuff for each realm, handling the cards, an in-depth guide, tips and hints, and then you've got the spreads. You've got 2 card readings and a sample reading. Rebecca is brilliant at 3 card readings I can't say enough good stuff, because honestly, Rebecca is the best. Then it goes through all of the cards. So as you can see, you get so much in this book. As I said, it's a thick book. There's my little Hobonichi A6. I mean, mine's a little bit fatter because mine just eat a lot and they get fat. Chunky, they get chunky and adorably chunky. I like it. So you can see that it's a pretty thick book, and again, I guess it's not A5. I don't know what that format is, but it's bigger than A6, quite a bit bigger. Now, let's talk about this card that I got. I want to find the boredom card, because it's the card I got not yesterday but the day before. I haven't drawn today's yet. Yesterday I got boundaries, but let's find boredom, because boredom has got more than one meaning. And I was kind of, because I am pretty much never bored. There's rarely been a time in my life, if I've got a pen and paper and my mind is working, then I tend not to get bored. I've always got way too many ideas. My problem is knowing what to do next. So I'll just put those in there for a moment. So boredom is in the realm of rest, which is kind of important. So if we go to the realm of rest, shadow rest cards are connected to open, quiet spaces in shadow. Shadow is being used as a place for personal exploration, refuge and reflection. These cards can hold aspects of shadow work, but are more centered around inner healing, inspiration and discovery. Choosing a name for this round was particularly challenging. I considered words like reflection, searching and discovery, which were also card titles. Ultimately, I chose the word rest because I felt it described what happens after a visit in the shadow work realm. Recovery follows a difficult period of change. After the challenges of shadow work, there is time to heal and recharge, or to do internal work that's a little less intense than what was required from the realm of shadow work. Like the Four of Swords, you get the Three of Swords, you got the heartbreak, that intense trauma, and then you got the Four of Swords where they're resting, kind of burnout almost. Cards like devotion, boredom, reconfiguration and ascent may not evoke rest, but I've included them here because they represent events or energies not fully realised or complete. Shadow rest cards reflect energies and activities that are coming from an internally driven place, and their lessons are not yet cemented in our reality. Shadow rest cards represent what's inside, what is veiled, or what has not yet fully materialised in the physical sense. Shadow rest cards represent the liminal in-between state of growth, representing the suspended state of shadow exploration. A majority of shadow rest cards in a reading means you need to allow for things to remain underground, open-ended, exploratory, or in flux. I provided keywords and phrases for the shadow rest cards and also the advice they offer. If you have drawn a card from the realm of shadow rest or find yourself here for an extended visit, you can expect that you're in the middle of a journey. Be okay with letting things hang in balance, are the Hangman card. Discoveries are made, you have the opportunity to learn new things about yourself and explore new interests, and reflection is needed. Take time to process, rest and heal from whatever you've been through. As you're in the middle of a journey, you'll need to allow your emotions to be cloudy and to move between various shades and hues. You might be feeling clear one day and fearful the next. This is where I am. When life is in between, you will be too. Understand that life doesn't always require you to fix or do things. The liminal state of shadow rest teaches that pressing pause is important. Much like a caterpillar in a cocoon, stillness is a part of growth. That's a wonderful analogy because, I mean, a lot happens in those cocoons. I know I'm always raving on about it, but you do go into the gloop and then you reform. But from the outside, you can't really see anything happening. You can see towards the end, the cocoon, the chrysalis becomes more translucent and you can see the butterfly forming. But it's quite cloudy and green for quite a while. While new versions of self and life may have emerged during shadow work, shadow rest asks that you may give yourself time to explore what's newly arisen. Now may not be the best time to make a permanent decision or to rush towards an outcome. You might need to spend time thinking about solutions before committing to plans, or you might need to just let life flow at its own tempo. Patience is a word to get comfortable with right now. And as you discover new things, you've got to allow yourself to be scared. As you begin going through new experiences or expressing yourself in new ways, and you might also be noticing that you react differently to things. Be curious, consider seeking wisdom from outside yourself in spirituality or philosophy or a mentor. Explore the mystical or nature. Try new things, take a class, read about or explore something new. That's something I've always gone to for a sanctuary in my life, is learning something new. Rest is a no judgment zone. No one is watching. You can find solace and explore life's potential from the protective cover of shadow. Maybe what you're working towards is not ready to share. Shadow rest is a place where you can keep your secrets safe. Allow yourself to notice thoughts and feelings. Note that taking time for rest and reflection is a sign of deep self-love and part of the way nature intends us to be, which is shown again in the seasons. Create safe spaces for this to happen. I mean, my surroundings are really, really important to me. What I wear is really important to me. Not in a fashion sense, but in a comfort sense. I'm very much a pajama person. I like baggy clothes that I can barely feel on me. I don't like heavy clothes. I don't like lots of layers. I don't like anything constricting me. Or labels. I have to wear things inside out, even socks, because of the seams. Shadow rest reflection, and some things you can ask yourself: what's in transition? How can I show patience and self-compassion? What have I always wanted to try or know? Where might discovery lead me? What areas of life do I need to reflect over? So there's all of that, and then we go back into the book and we find the meaning for the boredom card. The meanings. Now, when I first got boredom, and I saw this card, I thought, no, that's not me, because I will take boundaries down for a minute and we'll put boredom in that place of honour. I don't get bored. I'm not bored. I'm the opposite of bored. But then I thought about it. It can be the thing that you are looking at and you are pushing yourself towards something that's uncomfortable. It can be, I think, a sign of burnout. Do you know that feeling when you get, like I actually feel physical nausea when I get overwhelmed by something? And that can be even something that I love and enjoy. It can be something that I've just when I get a new passion or I'm into something, I research non-stop. I can't stop myself. Research is something I love so much. And I go on and on and on and on and on. I just cannot stop myself. And the detail, I go more and more into detail and into depth with it. But then there comes a point when you just actually feel completely sick. You feel complete nausea. And to me, this is akin to this boredom, because it's kind of opposite, but something similar. It's like your body is bored with the research, even though it's really exciting, if that makes sense. I know when I got this card the other day, it made sense to me. So let's have a look. A clock, hourglass, and eyes hover inside the four corners of a window frame. There's a feeling of being stuck inside. That's true. Boredom is the feeling that time is slow and it's never ending, or that nothing new is coming around the bend. If you've drawn boredom, you're somehow steeped within a warped idea or notion of time. Boredom can be a means of avoidance. Staring at the wall, you might feel there's nothing to do, but when you scratch beneath the surface, you might find a to-do list up the wazoo. There's lots you could do and you know it, but what's the point that if there's never enough time? You might view time as what limits you, but maybe it's your relationship to time and to yourself. With time as your enemy, you might evade doing what gives your life meaning, or you might struggle with having any meaning, not knowing where to turn or begin. That's a bit that happens to me when I get overwhelmed. Again, I lose sense of meaning and purpose. Purpose is largely self-created and independently maintained. In order to feel more connected to something that sparks your spirit, you have to search your soul for signs of life. Time can be fleeting, but it can also be abundant. Consider boredom the opportunity to expand time's potential. Boredom might mean that your life has become too routine. Work, rest and social obligations all become mundane requirements. People seem draining and annoying. At the end of the day, you might see your hours whittled away by endless, meaningless tasks. Well, this happens also when you want to be doing something else, but I'm learning to kind of not see things as meaningless. I try now to do things I need to do. I mow the lawn, I clean the house, I cook when I need to, I try to grow things in the garden. Sometimes I really enjoy these things and other times I kind of fight against doing them. But ultimately they are all good things to be doing. The more you do, you get stronger. And maybe you're not challenging yourself enough or are too steeped in well-worn paths. Try doing one thing a day that scares or excites you without harming yourself, of course. Create new goals and learn new things. Push yourself towards something uncomfortable. You might also need to make large life changes. Consider adjusting what feels stagnant. And this is the thing that really struck with me at this point in time, because I said I questioned that card. You might also look at this image and think, I wish I were bored. Boredom could mean you're needing respite. Perhaps you view stillness as a luxury. Stillness is something that I find it pretty much impossible to achieve. Feeling there is never enough time. Yep, that's me. You might find yourself constantly on the go, running in a hamster wheel. You're trapped by a twisted sense of time, and it's become your keeper. That is me. If you view boredom as an impossibility or as something shameful, consider lessening your commitment and slowing down. Boredom represents an opportunity to view a relationship with time, timelines, meaning and purpose. Consider where you're placing meaning in your life. Reflections. What makes me feel alive? What am I bored of, or what do I find to be dull? What does this tell me? What this tells me is these things. I'm on the hamster wheel. I live with ADHD, and ADHD is not a joke. It is bandied around a lot, and people will forget something momentarily and say, oh, ADHD, and, you know, ADHD is extremely debilitating. Your brain cannot tell your body to stop. The message doesn't get through. This hamster wheel thing, this that you're continually running out of time, that there's never enough time, that you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you get continually distracted. That is really hard to live with. Perpetual thought looping, that is really hard to live with, and you don't get to sleep or rest hardly. So for me, this part of the meaning, needing respite, is what that card applies to. So I wanted to share about that card because, you know, sometimes you get a card and you look to the traditional thing or the meaning or the first thing and you think, no. That's not me. That doesn't apply to me. But this does. This is so perfect for where I am now. And then I got boundaries today. And I got boundaries last week as well, I think. And we all know quite a lot about boundaries. So boundaries is a work card. We'll put the resting card of boredom back. And boundaries, I said, is the one I got yesterday. And boundaries, I did shuffle them well, by the way, even though they're next to each other. I've shuffled this deck a lot in the last couple of weeks. Expectations, limits, respect. And boredom was routine, avoidance, time. We are being confronted unflinchingly. The face that looks out from this drawing does not twitch an eye. Their inner convictions are strong. Giant powerful hands and nails draw a line around them. They're framed inside a no-venture zone. The line between inside and out is clear. The boundaries drawn here reveal a clear commitment to self-preservation and self-respect. Boundaries are your expectations of how you deserve to be treated. They are also the limits on what you allow into your personal sphere, and boundaries mean that you are saying a big no. Your rules, your ethics and your essential needs become clearer through time and experience. Unfortunately, boundaries often become apparent only after they are crossed. And it takes us a long time to realise that we don't have them. People in your life might be pushing their luck, their plans and idealism onto you. Perhaps they expect things that you simply cannot give or do. You might find yourself feeling shame, a tool used by others to guilt or control you. Now, boundaries, if you have no boundaries, then that can turn into a lot of passive-aggressive stuff going on. So boundaries are not only important for you, they're important for the people around you. Sometimes boundaries are crossed when we give out our energy, it's not reciprocated back. This leads to resentment, exhaustion. This is what I was talking about. The energy vampire syndrome is a very real plague infecting humanity. Boundaries mean we do not allow ill treatment to continue. And that includes by ourselves. Abuse, self-abuse, treating ourselves badly. The severity of the lines drawn may shift from person to person. What won't change are your underlying beliefs. Good boundaries are created when one honours their life force as a precious commodity. If relating to your goals or work, boundaries encourage you to have some separation, and then it goes on to more obvious. But the reflection, what boundaries do I need to draw with people? How should I communicate my boundaries and expectations? But this card is kind of almost passive-aggressive, kind of stillness, but you've got the nails drawn. So that's what when I think about boundaries and how they've affected my life, I can see how give. And even though you think you're giving freely, there comes a point where you feel the pain, you feel the hurt. And that's the passive-aggressive part of it. Because it's subtle, you don't realise, you know. Right, let's get today's card and see what we get. I haven't done my tarot card for today. I'm using the tarot deck I'm using this week is the Dark Goddess Tarot, which I haven't used it for a while because I used to have the original version of it, which was more like my old Tarot of the Crone, and it was in a little box, and then I don't know what happened to it. I lost it, or I probably gave it away. I did that a lot. Something happened. Anyway, I lost that deck. So I replaced it. Then it was out of print for a long time. But then Schiffer brought out a new shiny version, in the big box kind of thing. And because it was like not the original, I was put off it for a while. But I did it. I bought it out again this week. And I'm enjoying it. That's another deck that is so full of stuff and story, and every card, not unlike the mythical creatures, which was also beautiful, and I got more and more in love with as I used it, that I used last week from Baba Studios or Magic Realist Press. The Dark Goddess Tarot, every card has a character, a hero, a goddess, a myth, a story, and they're just brilliant. So here we go. Come on, cards. Come on. So today is the 21st, I believe. We're almost into Scorpio, I think. 2 more days. And there's a new moon early tomorrow morning here. It's right at the end of Libra, that new moon. So that'll be just sneaking into the back door. So, what have we got? Devotion. That's beautiful. But again, you've got the rose, but you've also got the thorn. I love Rebecca's art. And what do I think about when I think of devotion? Well, what it means, like devoting yourself to something. Giving. You are giving yourself. So devotion is like self-giving. Dedication, patience, and love. 2 hands delicately embrace a rose. Potential exists in the blossom folded in, which has slowly begun to open. As the growing rose twists and bends, the hands follow the shape of the stem. Thorns puncture the skin and drops of blood trickle out. Devotion is a delicate thing that requires some objective measure. The love and care required by it can bring beauty but also pain. You might be dedicated to something or someone that you adore, but that breaks you emotionally. Physical or financial. You might be dedicated to someone or something that you adore, but that breaks you emotionally, physically, or financially. What a wonderful illustration for that. Perhaps you're incredibly loyal and driven. Devotion signifies the need to be aware of what you give yourself to and why. It can be helpful to measure the mental and material cost of your allegiances as well as your gains. You might have made consistent investments in people and things and seen the fruits of your labour bloom. Alternately, you might find yourself dedicated to causes that zap your energy. Devotion encourages you to look at what builds you up versus bleeds you out. Make adjustments based on your findings. It can be about a lover or an enticing friendship. The rose evokes passion and suggests that you're being lured in by romance and glamour. The rose conveys magnificence, but the thorns express sorrow. There may be a price paid for love, attention, or friendship you receive. Perhaps you sacrifice more than you can or should. The appearance of devotion could be encouraging you to be careful about who you invest your emotional energy in. Maybe you see yourself as the romancer. Devotion could represent the mental image you have of love. You require complete steadfastness from your lover. However, there could be some personal insecurities beneath your demands. As they agree to be loyal and as they lean in to love you, they are hurt by your thorns. You could be struggling to let people in. I do struggle with letting people in, I've got to admit. I think a lot of it is more of an energy thing because I'm so aware of the energy needed in true friendship. And I've been single for many, many years now, happily so, because I realise how much energy I need at this part of my life, because my whole life I've been giving energy out to other people. And out of respect for anyone else, I choose to stay single because I'm using my energy. I need my energy. As mentioned before, the delicate beauty of the rose may speak of something near and dear to your heart. A goal, a dream, or a vision calls you. To avoid hurting yourself or choking the potential of the flower, your hands must carefully grasp the object of your affection. It's funny because I've been devoting myself to getting rid of old man's beard and bramble, and I've got ripped apart a few times. So sometimes, when we were talking about the tarot, and I said the daily card can be so like on topic, so really absolutely in your face. And this is it, scratching myself on the brambles. So, to control every part of the rose's splendour would choke its colour, vibrancy and life. Devotion encourages organic growth. The rose has a will of its own. You will have to keep your vision close to your heart without squeezing the energy out of there in your own pulse. Devotion is the power of love and desire, understood in both its allure and entrapment. What or who am I devoted to, and where does my devotion lead? Now, looking at that in the light of the bramble and the need and the fact that it is a rest realm card, and I got boundaries, and I got that boredom card we spoke about. I've been overdoing it, and I am burnt out. Every day I've been pushing and pushing and pushing myself into the night, but I've been out there dealing with bramble and ripping myself to bits. So that to me is another amazing card to get for today. And I'm taking it quite literally. I am doing too much ripping up with brambles. That wasn't a traditional review or walkthrough. I know I haven't gone through all of the cards. I did that in my video. I believe I did that in my video the other day. But I'll do that. I'll do that for you now, quickly, in case I didn't, or in case you don't want to watch that video. That was just a catch up. But here we go. We've got trust, restoration, pride, modesty, materialization, abandonment, erasure, jealousy, peace, determination, patience, release, reflection, surprise, contentment, survival, remorse, wealth, repetition. I did do these the other day. That's one of my favourite cards. I love that. It does remind me of yoga, of routine, of taking that time to do something, and routine is incredibly important to me, even though half of my being fights against it and can't bear it. I need it. I've never seen it as routine, but it's things I need to do. More ritual, I see it as ritual. Rituals I have to go through to survive the day, and if I can't do them, then everything gets screwed up. Constancy, boredom, wisdom, protection, I like that one, it reminds me of my home and castle. Hope, illusion, divide, annoyance, acceptance, sensitivity, joy. That one, acceptance, is when I look at that card, I think about like almost tying yourself in knots to change something that is, rather than just accepting it. That's how I see that. I also see Pisces because there's two fish. Sensitivity, again, that makes me feel about how I am when I'm out in public and I don't want to be. I'm so sensitive to other people's energy, and it feels a bit like that. Joy, heart too big for the body. Ascent, rebel, secrecy, flow, Loch Ness monster. Reconfiguration, courage. Oh, I look at that one, sewing yourself back together like kintsugi. Courage, again, my favourites. Descent, it's nice. Into the puddle, into the murk, into the dark, into the deep. Boundaries, pressure, the knot, look tight. That, amazing. These cards are amazing. You think of the pressure of a knot and pulling it, and then it's breaking. Destruction. I cut my hair recently, and it wasn't about destruction at all. It was destruction in that I destroyed my long hair, but it was a positive thing. So this is another. Searching, looking into the heavens, the star signs. Loathing, cherishing, betrayal, distrust, fear, pleasure, abundance, power, grief, obscurity, growth, mastery, clarity, serenity, mystery, confrontation, anger. That reminded me when I was a kid and I used to hide under my hair, or all my life, not just when I was a kid. Fury and anger is the mandrake. We did talk about these the other day. There we go. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to give it a bit of energy and sense of and feeling of the deck and Rebecca's energy. And Rebecca, if you're watching, this is for you, and thank you so much for sharing so much of your amazingness. Bye.